it was the first time that, suits were coming in, and the first time that we started to incorporate suits into practice. Like, suits in practice weren't a thing, 20 years ago type thing. And it was definitely something with you that you were big on. I remember specifically you would make us do race and kind of what do you call it when you go through the whole race day? Yeah, the simulation, exactly, right. So you would actually bring us in and you would put us in a ready room, and you would make us sit there, and then we'd go out and you'd call us to the blocks and we'd go through the whole simulation. And we did this type of training where it was, you were preparing for race day, basically. Sure. I remember a set where we did 450s on 10 minutes suited up, and I had to hold, under 23 long course, and that was the first time I did that. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, I felt really good from that. I felt really confident that my speed was there, my power was there. I could back it up. I could hit it when I wanted to. So, like, you always put me in situations where on race day I felt like I could draw back on my training and say, I've done this before. I've been there. I've felt this. I can take on anyone in the world because I'm prepared for this. You know what I mean? And that's what you always did a really good job of.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of reasons. I think so often we just train the technique and the physiology, but we need to create this environment that what it's going to be like in the arena. So, quite often I remember even sometimes we'd have cameras in people's faces. For a lot of swimmers when they're walking out at the Australian Championships or the trials or an Olympic event, they're not quite used to that experience. So the more we create this environment that's going to be like what it is in that situation. What am I going to do in the marshalling area? What's my process? What am I going to do? Do I need to have some headphones on? I mean, you look at Michael Phelps, he's got these big headphones, or some swimmers. So I don't want any distractions. What works for those individuals? How am I going to walk out? How do I walk out behind the blocks? What's my rituals behind the blocks? How do I get myself ready? What's my self-language? What's my self-talk? And then practicing it exactly, or trying to simulate as much as we can, like the actual environment of what it's going to be like on a race day.
Yeah, I mean, I'd been through stuff like that. A lot of times it was like broken swims, with previous coaches. Let's break this up. And you were like, no, we're going to simulate it exactly like we want to do it. It was the first time I'd gone through like a process of like, okay, I want you to get to the pool a couple hours early. I want you to go through your warm-ups. I want you to go through your ready rooms. I want you to go into the locker room and put your suit on. I'm going to give you 20, 30 minutes to do all that. We're going to come out. We're going to, you would whistle us onto the block. We'd have all the touchpads set up. We'd have cameras set up. You just set up the environment so well for us to feel like we're at the championship. So that by the time we got to the championship, it was a very comfortable place to be, being in the ready room. And I talk about the ready room a lot now with a lot of with the athletes, and some of them have a very good understanding of ready room control, and others are still young and haven't figured it out yet. But you were the first coach that definitely put me in that situation where I realized that, it's more than just the swim. There's so much more that goes into it. A lot of swims can be won and lost in the warm-up pool, for instance,